Okay, so when you hear the words asteroid mining, your mind probably jumps straight to some big sci-fi blockbuster, right? But here's the thing, what we're talking about today isn't fiction anymore. This is a very real look at the competitive landscape in 2026, where a new kind of gold rush is already well underway.
So what's driving this incredible race to the stars? Well, it all boils down to a really simple but powerful idea. Here on Earth, we've got a problem, a big one, scarcity. The critical materials we need for all our tech. I'm talking about platinum group metals for our phones, our computers, everything, they're running out. But up there in space, we have the solution, abundance. Asteroids are just packed with these metals, not to mention water we can turn into rocket fuel.
And if you're trying to wrap your head around the sheer scale of this, just listen to this quote. One single asteroid could hold more platinum than all the platinum mined in the entire history of humanity. I mean, let that sink in for a second. The economic pull is absolutely staggering, and it's what's turning this from a cool idea into a potential multi-trillion-dollar industry. And that's why we're calling it the new gold rush. It's officially made the leap from the pages of science fiction right into the boardrooms of some really ambitious startups. What's so fascinating is that this isn't like the old space race, led only by governments. Nope. This new frontier is being blazed by private companies with big ideas and the cash to make them happen.
All right, so let's meet the cast of characters in this story. These are the key players, the 2026 cohort, who are really leading the charge. They're the ones actually building the tech, launching the missions, and turning all this theory into reality.
And listen, this isn't just another Silicon Valley story. Not at all. This is a global game. We've got major players headquartered all over the world, from California and Denver to London and all the way to Nanjing, China. The race for space resources is truly an international competition.
Okay, but here's where it gets really interesting. Not all of these pioneers are chasing the same prize in the same way. There's not just one path to striking it rich. Turns out there are three very different strategies for how you actually make money from a giant rock floating in space.
Think of it like this. All these companies, they basically fall into one of three buckets. First, you have the extractionists. These are the actual miners. Then, you've got the infrastructure builders, who are creating the support system, the towns and railroads, if you will, for a space economy. And finally, you have the tool makers, the ones selling the picks and shovels to everybody else.
So let's start with the extractionists. These are the companies you probably think of first, the classic prospectors. You've got AstroForge out of California, and they're hunting for that precious platinum to bring back home to Earth. And then there's Carmon Plus, who are focused on mining regolith. And what's regolith? It's basically the layer of dust and loose rock on an asteroid. Think of it as asteroid soil.
Next up are the infrastructure builders. These guys are playing the long game. You know, in the old gold rushes, it wasn't just the miners who got rich, it was the people who built the railroads and the towns. That's TransAstra. They want to turn asteroids into cosmic gas stations by mining water ice. And then you have Origin Space in China, which is developing systems for resource use and even cleaning up space junk.
And that brings us to our third group, the tool makers. There's that old saying from the gold rush. The surest way to make a fortune wasn't digging for gold, it was selling picks and shovels. Well, the UK's Asteroid Mining Corporation is doing the 21st century version of that. They are building the specialized robots that can actually work on an asteroid surface.
Okay, so we've met the players, we get their game plans, now we get to the really cool part. Let's look at the incredible, almost science fiction level technology that these companies are developing right now to make this all a reality.
Check out AstroForge's wild solution for refining metal in a vacuum. First, they use cold gas blasts to chip away at the asteroid without even touching it. Then they take that ore and superheat it until it literally becomes a gas. And for the grand finale, they use powerful magnets to pull the valuable metals right out of that vapor. It's an entire refinery, shrunk down to fit on a spacecraft.
TransAstra's method for getting water is just beautifully simple. It's called optical mining. Their spacecraft unfolds these huge mirrors to focus sunlight into an intense beam right onto an icy asteroid. The heat turns the ice straight into vapor, which they can then collect. The analogy is perfect. It's like using a massive magnifying glass to melt an industrial-scale ice cube.
You know, one of the biggest challenges isn't just the mining itself, it's just getting to the asteroid and staying there. These things aren't sitting still. They're often tumbling unpredictably through space with almost no gravity. Carmon Plus is solving this with some seriously advanced software that lets their spacecraft fly itself safely right next to these chaotic spinning rocks.
And to really put that into perspective for you, it's been compared to trying to park a car on a spinning merry-go-round. Yeah, that one image tells you everything you need to know about how difficult this problem is and what a massive deal it is to solve it.
Over at Origin Space, they're working on this cool net capture system. And what's neat is it has two uses. It's designed to snag little chunks of asteroids for study, but it could also be used to clean up all the dangerous junk we have floating around in orbit. The concept is wonderfully easy to grasp. It's basically orbital fishing.
So, how do you move around on an object with almost no gravity? Wheels are totally useless. You just fly off into space. Well, Asteroid Mining Corp has this amazing solution inspired by nature. Their robots use feet with these things called microspine grippers, which work just like a gecko's foot. It allows them to literally cling to and climb all over these weird rocky surfaces.
So, we've seen the companies, their strategies, and their incredible tech. But now let's zoom out. Why does this new gold rush truly matter for all of us back here on Earth?
This mission board gives us a fantastic snapshot of where the race stands right now, and things are really heating up. AstroForge's mission is already up there, getting ready for a landing demo. Kármán Plus is in the pre-launch phase. This isn't some distant future, folks. This is happening right now. At the end of the day, the success of these companies matters for two huge reasons. First, it could help solve our resource scarcity problem here on Earth, maybe even stabilize supply chains for everything from our cars to our phones. And second, by creating resources in space, like water for fuel, it makes all future space exploration dramatically cheaper.
What we're witnessing here is really history in the making. The work these pioneers are doing is the essential groundwork for humanity's future. They are building the strategic infrastructure, the roads and gas stations of space, that will one day let us live on other planets, whether that's a base on the moon or a city on Mars. So, the takeaway is this. The pioneers are carving out the path. They are laying the foundation for a whole new economy beyond Earth. And that leaves us with one thrilling question to think about. A brand new frontier is opening up before our very eyes. What are we going to build there?